52 games in college football last week and a dead split right down the middle. 25 favorites covered, 25 underdogs covered, and we had a couple of pushes for good measure. Of those 25 underdogs, 13 won outright. So through 3 weeks of play, the dogs have a slight advantage, 70, 66, and 2 against the spread. 32 of those 70 underdogs have won outright. Now, how about double-digit favorites? Well, historically, they've been money in the bank in the season's opening weeks. This year, not the case, guys. Just 3 games over 500 at 40, 37, and 2. 11 of them have lost outright. 3 more last week. Biggest probably of the season, Southern Cal losing as the big double-digit chalk at Washington. Baylor, 10.5, 11-point home favorite, losing to a Connecticut team playing with their backup quarterback, and Purdue losing outright as well. Hi guys, DeMarco here, General Manager and Lead Handicapper for the world's largest online sports handicapping community. Every weekend this fall, I'll be right here giving you free college and pro football winners. Today, I've got free picks coming up for you on Buffalo Temple and Miami of Florida, Virginia Tech. Plus, exciting details on how you can win a free VIP weekend getaway at my favorite Las Vegas casino, the Golden Nugget. But first, I wanted to talk to you about a little gambling strategy. 2 of the most important angles to consider when it comes to handicapping college football, the look ahead and the letdown factors. Let's take a look at some of today's examples. These are teams that are perhaps getting caught looking ahead. Michigan hosting Indiana today, 4th straight home game for the Wolverines, but next week hit the road against their arch rivals, the Spartans in East Lansing. Michigan State, Wolverines in revenge, lost by 2 TDs at home in Ann Arbor to the Spartans a year ago. Now, the good news for Michigan, they're 30-1 straight-up lifetime against Indiana, and they've won the last 5 games in that series by an average of 30 points a game. How about Auburn? Well, they should beat the heck out of Ball State today, but they've got Tennessee coming up next, and it's a double whammy for Auburn. They're coming off that big 4th quarter rally and cover at home against West Virginia, and they're 0-5 ATS in their last 5 games prior to taking on the Volunteers. The Midshipmen of Navy, how focused are they going to be on Western Kentucky, a pushover team the Hilltoppers are when they've got the big game against Air Force next week? And finally, LSU. Interesting thing here with LSU. They're on the road in an SEC game today against Mississippi State. But next week's LSU's road game is the big one at Georgia between the hedges. Big revenge game for the Tigers, who lost 52-38 in Baton Rouge to the Bulldogs a year ago. And FYI, even though they've won 16 of the last 17 straight up against Mississippi State, they're on a 9-17 ATS slump as a road favorite, and the last 8 times they've been a double-digit favorite, they failed to cover all 8 times. Now, let's take a look at some teams that could be caught in potential letdown situations. How about Tennessee? All that buildup going into the Florida game. Well, they're coming off the Florida game. They're back home, taking on Ohio. The good news for the Volunteers, they've covered 5 straight games in the week after playing the Gators. How about the Gators? They're at Kentucky. Well, they're 0-7 ATS the last 7 games after battling Tennessee, and interestingly enough, they've got LSU coming up next. They're 3-7-1 ATS in the game prior to playing the Tigers. Middle Tennessee State, you're saying, what the hell is Middle Tennessee State doing here on the board? Well, guys, they're playing North Texas today, but they're coming off a Maryland upset for the 2nd straight year when they beat the Terrapins last week in College Park, but their big games at Troy State in conference play next week. So perhaps Middle Tennessee State gets caught in a letdown. And finally, is there any team that could possibly be in a bigger letdown situation than the Washington Huskies? You knock off USC last week, and today you're at Stanford. Now let's get to today's first free pick, Buffalo and Temple. At Temple, Mid-American Conference clash. You know, this is a big revenge game for the Temple Owls. Last year, they lost 30-28 on the road on a 35-yard TD pass on the final play of the game. Talk about heartbreaking. You know, Buffalo's owned this series, 12-1 straight-up series run. The only loss, 1970. Temple opened the season by blowing a 24-10 lead and losing to Division I AA Villanova. But Villanova's a darn good team, I can tell you that, guys. Last week lost at Penn State, but it was a respectable showing. 31-6 was the final score. They held the Lions to 359 yards on the road in that game. Here's the problem with Buffalo. If you run the ball, Buffalo can't stop you, because the opponents have averaged or have actually totaled 130 yards or more on the ground in all 3 of Buffalo's games this year, including 170 by Central Florida last week. That was a game Buffalo was up 17-7 at half, 4 turnovers in the second half. They end up losing the game 23-17. Now, you smart guys out there will say, hey, but Temple can't run the ball. Okay, I grant you that. They only averaged 92.5 yards a game this year. But I throw this out in my defense. Central Florida couldn't run the ball either. They were only averaging 70 yards a game. And you see what they did last week. Plus, this Buffalo defense, they're giving up 172 rushing yards a game. Here's a couple other stats for you. The Owls have won 6 of their last 7 MAC games straight up at home, and they've covered 7 of their last 9 ATSs home at well. Buffalo also, 3rd road game in 4 weeks. I say in this one, you don't lay more than 3 if you have to buy down the half point as insurance. Now, before I get to my second free pick, let's talk about Las Vegas, my favorite casino, my favorite gambling spot in Sin City. It is the Golden Nugget and how you can win a free VIP weekend. Every 30 days, we're giving away a free VIP weekend to one lucky winner who enters his email address by clicking on the VIP weekend giveaway link at the top of the page. You'll get a high roller suite, VIP check-in, airport limo service to and from the Golden Nugget downtown, and VIP seating to Gordie Brown's incredible show at the Golden Nugget. And that's all for free to one lucky winner every 30 days. And here's the best part, guys, no purchase is necessary. Just click on the VIP Weekend Getaway link at the top of this page, enter your email address. It really is that easy. This is your shot to be a high roller in Vegas. You're going to get the full VIP treatment for free, courtesy of the Golden Nugget. Heck, you might even see me there. We'll hang out together. Enter now, and remember, no purchase necessary. Now, let's get back to my final free pick on Miami of Florida and Virginia Tech. I want to start by the Hurricanes. Everybody said they had a killer schedule. Could be 0-4 to start the season. Ha-ha. Who's getting the last laugh? Randy Shannon is, isn't he? 2-0 start for Miami. Beat Florida State, beat Georgia Tech. And the way they did it, shutting down both teams' running games, holding them to an average of just 3 yards a carry. Extra advantage for Miami, Florida. 2 extra days of preparation time since they beat Georgia Tech in that Thursday night game. Now, Miami won last year 16-14 at home, failed to cover the 4-point spread, but who cares? They won the game. Virginia Tech last Saturday got a touchdown with 21 seconds to play playing at home to beat Nebraska 16-15. Here's my problem with Virginia Tech. 278 total yards of offense against the Huskers, 86 of them on the ground. Remember in week number 1 against Alabama, 216 total yards of offense, only 75 yards on the ground. And defensively, everybody talks about Frank Beamer's Hokies, the great defense. Nebraska and Alabama ran for a combined 475 yards on this team. Now, Tech is on a 7-1 ATS run in this series, but I don't like their quarterback, Tyrod Taylor. He's only completed 48% of his passes. Compare that to Ja'Cory Harris. How he has developed as Miami of Florida signal caller. 386 yards passing, 2 touchdowns against Florida State. 20 of 25, 270 yards, 3 touchdowns against Georgia Tech. Again, don't lay more than 3. Buy down the half point in insurance here as well. Once again, the free picks, Miami of Florida and the Temple Owls. Again, these are good selections. They're not my strongest selection of the day, though. That would be my 2009 College Revenge Game of the Year play. I'm backing a home team that's seeking big-time payback today. It's a must-win game for them. Now, this team got blown out on the road last year if you look at the final score. But the game was much closer than the final score indicated. Turnovers killed them in the 4th quarter a year ago. Don't miss my College Revenge Game of the Year. If you're playing just one game today, this is the game, guys. Good luck today, and I'll catch you again right here tomorrow with my NFL free picks.